In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to configure a default route. And a default route is different than a static route. A static route is more specific. A static route, you specify a subnet and tell arriving packets, if you want to get to this destination, take this next hop address. A default route is more general. It says if packets arrive, if I don't have any route in the routing table for the packet, then just send it using the default route. And it's used often a lot for branch offices and internet connections. This example, router 1 could be a branch office, and it connects to the data center router here. And since there's only one link, a default route works quite well. The data center often has an internet link as well, so you can just configure packets so the default route will send packets to the data center, and if that's where the internet connection is, then the data center router would then route to the internet. And so in this example, I'm going to configure a default route on router 1, and it's going to send all packets that aren't destined for the local subnet to the data center router. And doing that, I can then have hosts connect to server 1 applications. So the first thing I want to do is start with router 1, and I'll select it, type enable, and then CCNA. That's my sign-on, and configure terminal. So what I want to do is, default route is a global command, so it's an IP route command. And it's going to install the default route in the routing table. And for example, what I can do right here, I'm just going to show you what the routing table looks like on router 1. So notice there's only connected routes. So the connected route that it knows of is 172.16.1, and that's the host subnet, and it's got the other one 192.168.1.0, and that's actually this WAN interface that connects to the data center. So it knows of two connected routes, and they're automatically installed in the routing table. There's no other routes. So I wanted to ping from the host to the server. It wouldn't work. I'm going to go to desktop, command prompt. Oh, actually it's 3.1. So I'll just change that to a 3. So what it does is, this is the IP address of the server 1. It's 172.16.3.1. So you notice destination host unreachable. Okay. So I'll go and configure a static default route. Let's go to the terminal. So the command is IP route, and it's 00000000. So that means send all packets with all subnets to 192.168.1.2. And 1.2 is actually the interface FA00. That's the data center WAN interface. It's 1.2. So it's going to send all packets directly to that data center interface if it doesn't have any route in the local routing table. So what I'm going to do is, that's the command. It is a global command. Now we'll go back to show IP route. And this time you notice that that asterisk there, that signifies it's a default route, and it's got administrative distance of 1, and there's the next hop is 1.2. So in this example, I'll go back to the host, and I'll redo the ping. And it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is there's no route back from this subnet back to this one. So what I have to do is, I'll select DC1, and I need to put a static route. I'm going to use a default route because a data center router has a lot of routes. So I'm not going to use a default route, I'll use a static route. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell it So this is on DC1. I'm going to tell it any packets that arrive, because when you ping, you send it, and server 1 has to send it the data back to host. DC1 doesn't know of any route, doesn't have a route back to 172.16.1, so I have to tell it. So I'll go IP route. So this is now a static route, saying specifically any packets destined to 172.16.10, and all the subnet mask is just a /24. Send it to the next hop of 192.168.1.1. Okay, that's the router 1 interface FA00. So it'll send packets there that are destined to the host. So it's bidirectional. Now try it again, and there it is. Now it works. Get all 4 replies. So I have to use, in this lab, I have to use a static route or a default route and a static route. And that concludes default routing.